from just having fun with the dating market. You're using other bodies to masturbate with. That's what you're doing. It is true, there is a narrative in circles that discuss intersexual dynamics that a higher body count is incommensurate with monogamy and a future predicated on trust and intimacy. And I believe this story that I have to share with you today is indicative of why lust and indulging it, and perhaps even describing it as part and parcel of a becoming of age process, is a dangerous narrative to entertain. So we begin with the title here, is really having a low sexual experience at 30 years of age as a modern Western man a red flag for women? Probably reaching here, asking for the opinions of women on this channel, but if you are out there, it would be interesting to get your knee-jerk reactions to that. Would you really care if low sexual experience as a man was something that would make or break a monogamous relationship? You let me know. So hi, I don't know if this post is allowed, but I would like to have an opinion from a third party. Third party opinions are always, well, not always valuable. So me, 28 years old, and this girl, we'll call her Claire for these purposes, 33 female, met online and we've been dating for around 4 months now. We both want a serious relationship, and since we are long distance, we talk a lot on the phone, and one of the topics that comes up more often than not is our past relationships. Tread carefully and tread lightly there when opening up that particular conversation. While in the past she has had many hookups, friends with benefits and relationships. Nothing wrong with having many partners. I would caution that particular reflex. While I only had 2 relationships, both of whom lasted for less than 6 months, and no casual partners in between. I am also the romantic type of man, the man that gives you flowers, always pays for the bills, and makes sure you get home safe. A traditional man, a provider. While she is more on the cold side of things, she prefers being independent and hates showing public affection, like holding hands, for example. Immediately, if you're sensitive towards it, like me, you can tell that there is a disparity in perhaps the natural proclivities of the type of energy each sex has. Meaning if you're a man, typically you want to exhibit masculine energies, which are more dominant, more assertive, and typically in this provider role. Conversely, if you're a female, it is reasoned, with sound reasoning, I believe, that you would want to exhibit characteristics that are indicative of maybe submission, yielding, nurturing, compassion and empathy, more often than not. But we can see already that there is a incongruence with that particular natural proclivity that we may have. The reason why I don't have much experience in relationships is that I've always been a career-driven man. I like it. I currently work 70 to 80 hours a week as a resident doctor and looks after our health. Even before residency, I worked during med school to help pay my studies and help my family, so I never really had much time to look for relationships. And a little sidebar here on what you can achieve with your life if you aren't chasing box. If you just narrow your field of focus and go and take bigger leaps and strides in the direction that is ultimately going to provide for you, provide for your family, certainly for your future and future family also. She tells me that since I don't have much experience, she feels like if we get together, I will feel like I am missing out on casual sex. It's an interesting turn of phrase, missing out on casual sex. I wonder if she would have the same reaction if I were to describe it a little bit more accurately in what you're actually doing when you're missing out on casual sex. Are you missing out on casual sex? Or are you missing out on using other bodies as a tool to sexually gratify yourself in a masturbatory sense? I mean, if we're going to be plain here and speak frankly, that is what you're doing when it's very interesting to me when people dress it up in colloquial and social terms. I'm just having fun at the moment. I'm not looking for anything serious, so I'm just having fun with the dating market. You're using other bodies to masturbate with. That's what you're doing. And, if that's what you want to do, fine. But again, I'm not being crass. I'm being very, very honest and straightforward. And so should you. And I believe if you frame it more in this light, it actually broadens the horizons. It broadens the understanding of fundamentally what you're doing. And it doesn't have as much romance behind it, does it? And I'm sure we're going to get into the confusion of our friend here because he doesn't understand why this would be the case. There's nothing alluring about that. So I'll just reread the sentence. She tells me that since I don't have much experience, she feels like if we get together, I will feel like I'm missing out on having or using other people as a means to gratify myself, because that is how she felt when she was in her first serious relationship and had not tried casual sex. Interesting. I wouldn't imagine that this would be a typical reaction, especially from a woman. I may be naive in this. I do not know. I understand the allure as a man once you first have sex with somebody in a relationship and you're having, continuous sexual relations. A part of you might imagine and be curious about other experiences with other women. I completely get that. Typically, though, I don't imagine that particular fantasy it travels across the sexes. Maybe I'm showing my naivety here. Maybe you guys can let me know what you think. Now, I've tried to reassure her and tell her that I'm not the type of guy who likes casual sex, but after the 10,000th time telling her this conversation, I straight up told her, I want you to be happy. What do you want me to do? Don't ever give away your frame like that at all. It is never a good idea to ask for guidance and leadership from your partner if you are going to pursue a relationship predicated on traditional means. And I would even go further and say, even if you have a relationship that is predicated on, let's say, a blending of traditional roles, and you pursue a relationship predicated on egalitarian principles, this does not nullify a masculine and feminine dynamic, meaning there is always going to be an individual that is seen as the more dominant individual in the relationship. And the moment you see your dominant partner give away his power, it removes him from the frame and it gives you the frame, if you're a woman, pardon me. Date and have sex with other women while dating you, to which she replied, no, I can't stop you from doing what you want, but I would hate it if you saw other girls than me. Things escalated with her, trying to gaslight me into believing that I misunderstood her, but I just told her I was tired and told her goodnight. I wanted to sleep. Today I woke up with her sending me a song about love and telling me that I am the romantic one amongst the two. I want her to feel comfortable about being in a relationship with me, but at the same time, I am tired of being told I am untrustworthy because I choose to focus on a career instead of meaningless sex. Any ideas on how to deal with this? I think it is more sad than anything else that the reflex of, I wouldn't say all women, but this woman in particular, which might be indicative of a general idea or opinion on men, that we have to go through this bout of having casual sex. I'm not going to lie to you and be transparent that I certainly had that time for me. It wasn't enjoyable. It wasn't enjoyable at all. When I look respectively at how that happened, it doesn't fill me with any kind of joy or fulfillment. It's the same kind of reflex you get when you realized, or you think back to some fast food that you ordered last weekend. Yeah, sure, it was nice in the moment, but it didn't do anything for me long term. Getting into the flesh of this particular title and the sentiment that precedes this video it is shown by the data and science that it is increasingly less likely that monogamy and a long-term relationship will work out if either partner, especially on the female sex of the side, has multiple partners. And my reasoning behind this is, once you widen your pool of comparison for relationships and for sex, you inadvertently end up doing just that. comparing it. There is something to be very true of being careful what you allow yourself to experience and how frequently you experience it, because your nervous system then gets conditioned to that experience and will always revert or refer back to it in the form of a memory or introspection. Hindsight, of course, we hear about these things. But then if you don't have these casual relationship or casual sex experiences, is your curiosity going to overwhelm you and poison your relationship? It's a very intricate balance, and I don't believe there's an easy answer. I fundamentally have, I suppose, tried both sides of, a more casual dating, sex dynamic and monogamy, and I prefer monogamy every single time. It's more than casual sex and pleasure. It's companionship. It's developing yourself on a level where you otherwise wouldn't, because new people, and especially when you know a person intimately, allows you to develop your faculties that you perhaps have biases against. And when you let somebody underneath your armor, so to speak, you are, greatly influenced. Easy way to describe this is look at the partners that you've had in your past, right? They rubbed off on you in one way or another. Not just the exchange of DNA, but also the exchange on, your psychology. Perhaps you've gone and had different life experiences because you were more receptive due to the influence of your partner. However, where does there come a point where lust in the past and indulging lust, identifying with lust, creeps in and, temptation rears its ugly head again in monogamy? I believe I'm very sensitive towards the kinds of women who are, they don't have that kind of control. They don't kind of have the forebrain, the neocortex developed to a point where they can forego lust and keep it at bay. And I believe part of strengthening that function is not indulging in gratifying yourself and using other people as a means to do that as well. I don't believe these are theories today. I feel these are facts. Speak soon.